Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net, and it is Wednesday the 6th of February. Thanks again for watching weatherweb.net. Remember, we kept free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen here. It's by you coming back, using the adverts and using the website that keeps us free of charge. And thousands of you now using the website every day, so thank you for doing that. Actually, I should say tens of thousands of you using the website every day. So thank you for that, and thank you for spreading the word. Hopefully we're doing what you want us to do. Those of you following on Twitter will know the minor disaster that befell us here in Wambourne earlier on today when the bacon butty machine at Sainsbury's broke. Yes, but hopefully it'll be back very soon. So don't panic, deep breaths, come on. We can all pull through this together. It just means that I'm going to have to get up the gym, do more work in the gym, get a few days in the bag ready for when that bacon butty machine comes back. But on to the more important part of the day, which of course is talking about the weather. And this is what we have at the moment from the GFS ensemble model. Now, really tricky to try and get a handle on what's going on next week. There are times, you know, when the weather goes into an unforecastable mode. And I've mentioned this before, that there are times when you just can't get a handle on what's going on. And we're kind of in that sort of situation at the moment, because the models are following a very similar sort of pattern to the one that they've been through all winter, and for that matter, most of part of last year as well, which is that we're seeing ridges build through the Atlantic, blocking off pressure systems coming in from the Atlantic, bringing northerly winds. Then they clear through, take away the cold spells, in come more unsettled spells, and then we find cold spells coming back in. So the pattern overall is there. The problem is it's the evolution of it that's the difficulty, and trying to pick out when that pattern is going to break down. Now, I've been pretty persistent in saying that I thought we were going to be up to about the 15th or 16th that we'd see the threat of this cooler weather. Then we'd see a transition through to between about the 20th and 22nd when we go into a more milder westerly push. Now, what's interesting is that the models don't really pick up on that idea of the milder westerly push. In fact, some of them go for it becoming cooler again at the end of the month. I think that's a bit misplaced. I think that although we're going to be milder, we're probably going to be nearer normal temperatures, but I think we do go into the unsettled conditions at the month end. And what's happening over the next few days really also sums up what's going on. I mean, look at this deep trough here across Europe just at the moment. That's quite a notable feature with the ridge here, look, out towards the west. Now, over the next few days, notice that ridge kind of just gets squeezed out, look, by this trough coming through here. Now, this is what I was saying to you about these westerly winds coming in off the States. Look, just break through the ridge there and just pump in their cold air into the trough across Europe here and continually deepen off that trough. Then we find further ridges building in where the split takes place. Look, there it comes again into next week, bringing back in this cold northerly flow, allowing a northeasterly across the east of the country, and that brings in the problems of deciding, well, is it going to be wintry across the east of the country? How much snow would there be if there is going to be snow? Where's it going to rain? Where's it going to snow? But the overall theme of the weather pattern is that we find this general westerly jet coming in from the Atlantic, but every so often it just buckles and it creates this ridge, look, out towards the west, and it's that causes so much difficulty. And actually, you're almost better not looking at it on a day-to-day basis. You're better looking at it mean over a period of time. So this is what I've been showing you over the next few days. This is the 7 to 10 day mean of the 500 millibar flow running from next Wednesday through to Saturday the 16th. This is the ECMWF, this is the GFS here on the right, and both really similar, look, with above normal heights out here in the Atlantic and the jet stream just flowing straight across the Atlantic here, look, on both sets of charts. Now, need to look for where the left exit regions are of the jet. So we've got one up here, we've got one up here. That's where low pressure tends to develop. But the problem with this flow is that because it's just pumping air constantly into this trough across Europe, what it means is that low pressure kind of gets stuck in here, and it's the same on both sets of charts. So with low pressure in here, you're getting a return flow coming around here of an east to northeasterly, and that means that cold air just gets in across East Anglia, southeastern parts of England, and the eastern Midlands. Now, that cold air is heavy and it's dense, and it kind of just sticks there. Now, it's not going to be cold as in kind of below freezing cold, it's going to be cold as in sort of 3-4 degrees. But the problem with it is that once it's in, it gets stuck. So as these low pressure systems and fronts kind of moving from the west here across Scotland, they're coming up against this colder air. And because it's only cool air, it's not particularly cold air, we then have difficulty of deciding, well, is this going to fall as rain, sleet or snow? That's the problem. I think across Scotland and Ireland we're going to be looking at rain because it's milder conditions coming in from the Atlantic, but I think across England and Wales it's sleet, it's snow over high ground almost certainly, and at times we could find snow at the lower levels too. When, where is difficult to say. I mean, we've got to be thinking in terms probably of Monday next week that we see some sort of snow, or even Tuesday across parts of England and Wales. Probably at the moment I favour northern parts of England, but don't hold me to it because I really do think that could well change. If we look at the ECMWF a little bit closer, models are coming together now. Remember, they were quite far apart at the beginning of the week, but they're coming together now. Let's just take you through to the beginning of this sequence. We'll go through to today. Here it is. This is this cold northern look that's been coming down through the country. Look at the ridge out towards the west. There it is again. So as you go through the sequence, look, the ridge is still there, but it collapses southwards as we get in towards Sunday. It allows the milder air to come back in from the west, but hey ho, look, there's the trough developing across Europe. It stops that milder air coming in, the ridge coming in. The ridge just collapses. Here it is by the time we get in towards Monday, and look, low pressure develops and slips southeastward. So if we just go back again, look, this low is kind of forming partly in here, and what happens is that feature just gets together and deepens and slips southeastwards through the country through Sunday and into Monday, and there it is on Tuesday, centred over France. Now that brings in this cold east northeasterly flow, but look, you see the air really, if you follow it round, has come from down here in the Med. Yes, it's come over a colder Europe, but it's not that drastically cold, which is where this kind of contrasting temperatures is really causing problems. Because if that had been a few weeks ago, or even if this flow, if that flow were to come further like that way, look, and come up there and then across there, yeah, you'd be talking about some heavy spells of snow. But when it's like this, it's more sort of sleety stuff, and yeah, we could find places getting a covering of snow, but there's going to be such a fine line between whether places get snow or not, so causing some real problems. It's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, they're the big focus days. After that, look, here's the ridge coming back into the west, and there it is again. Look, on Wednesday, Thursday, it collapses away down to the south, and we pick up more of a slightly milder west to northwesterly flow. But look what's happening again. Low pressure up there towards the north. Here's the jet stream flowing through here. Remember what I said? Left exit region of the jet stream in here. There's your development zone, and look what happens. Your low deepens. In it comes again, down through the country, and that one probably following a similar path down here. But then look, another ridge building out towards the west, so you're kind of looking for the end of this pattern, and it's just not there. So I think cool and unsettled is the best way to sum it up. Watch it very carefully for this risk of this sleet and rain turning to snow at times, because I think it will happen, and we've got to be careful that we don't get caught out. It's not going to be a spell like it was a couple of weeks ago, you know, where we got that snow and it stuck in and it was there for a long time. This is going to be subtly different, such a knife-edge situation, but an unsettled situation, and one that brings fairly strong winds as well. Useful to look at the long ranges. This is the CFS from yesterday for week 1. British Isles here, look, remember you've got to turn your heads upside down for this one, but there's the trough, look, and here's the ridge. So in this situation, look, you can quite easily see it. There's the east to northeasterly flow through the country that's been brought about. Into week 2, it sees the trough through the British Isles, which is entirely reasonable, because look, here's the ridge building back out in the Atlantic, and the flow is like that. So the British Isles in the trough, that's what you'd expect to see with unsettled, cooler weather, which is what there's going to be. Then into week 3, this is the end of the month. Now, this is what I think we've been picking up on the MJO. Look, the heights fall, so the jet is kind of coming a little bit further north, sort of up here a bit, and is in there. But this here and here, that's the higher than normal heights up towards the north, so we've got high pressure in here, and I think this is going to be quite a strange pattern in here, because this is sort of almost gets itself completely cut off, and this is a trough that's almost out on its own, something like that. But what that would do is bring in those more unsettled conditions I've been talking about across the south, where we get wind and rain. You know, it went last week with those milder temperatures coming in at times, but Scotland tending to stay in cooler conditions. So for this week, we could be looking at temperatures probably somewhere in the range, daytime temperatures of about 4 in Scotland, could be down to about a 7, or perhaps even as high as 9 across the southern parts of England. And then the end of the month going into March, well, it tries to do it again. Look, here's the ridge up to the north again. So there's the high, look, Here's the trough out in the Atlantic that will be doing something like that at upper levels, but we get this return flow coming in from the north, look, something like that, and then the flow from the low coming in something like that. So again, it's hinting that yes, unsettled conditions come in, but we stay on the cooler side of things, and wetter in the south, drier to the north, and I think that's where we're going to go with this pattern. But as I said at the beginning, you know, the weather sometimes gets itself into this unforecastable mode, and I think that's kind of where it is at the moment. But let's just stick with the idea of a cool February, of it being pretty unsettled, no signs of any real settled weather on the way as such for longer than sort of 1 or 2 day periods, and probably a windy, cool, rather wet end to the month in the early part of March. That then matches in with the MJO. So an interesting one, an interesting situation, one that hopefully you can follow from that. I know it's a bit of a mishmash of charts that I've shown you there, but I just want to show you where our thinking goes just at the moment. We've been advising private clients actually that we just weren't sure where this was going to be going, although we had an overview that we were unsettled end of the month into the beginning part of March, cooler into the middle part of March potentially, but then an improvement at the end of the month. It's just trying to get the detail in, and unfortunately, even though we're sort of a week or two away, getting the detail into this is very, very tricky. So do bear with me, keep watching the videos, keep coming back to the site, and of course keep monitoring the tweets. You can follow me at Weather School, and also on Facebook do a search for Weather School, because we're constantly putting out information on there as well. So once again, thanks for watching. Remember, WeatherWeb's kept free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen. You coming back and using the site is what keeps us free of charge, and using the adverts, that's exactly what generates revenue that keeps the site free of charge. So for now, thanks for watching, and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.